Well, hello one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass, welcome to Austria, and welcome to the Großglocknerstrasse. Some of you might remember I visited this place last year with my brown F-Type R. I've come back because, well, I generally think it's one of the best driving roads in Europe, and I wanted to come here in my GT3. But I also wanted to visit this place. This is Fat Mankai, brought to you by the team who are trying to bring you GP Ice Race. It might be one of the best driving destinations in the world. It's perched on one of the most beautiful mountain ranges that exist, alongside one of the greatest driving roads that you can experience. It serves amazing coffee, delicious apple strudel, and the team inside are just amazing. There's a proper vibe, there's Porsche stuff everywhere. They lent me one of their watches, which is a Porsche Design GP Ice Race collaboration. I don't think every customer gets to wear one of the watches, but I know the team here and they're just super cool, and it's just been the most amazing and special morning, and this has been a wicked place to kind of sit down and let it all sink in and gee ourselves up for what's going to be an awesome day, I think. Oh, I am loving life today, and I'm loving life as a GT3 owner. These moments are what I dreamed life would be like when I collected my car at the start of the year. Look at these views. You loving life, Tony?
Love it, mate.
Yes! Now, my plan today as we make our way through Austria is to do a bit of a Q&A, because it's been a long time since I've done one, and I've seen in the comment section many of you have many questions. So we're going to kick things off with the first question, which is, if I was to do Drive the World 2.0, what car would I take and where would I go? It's a question I actually get asked quite a lot, so it feels like the right way to kick things off. I have given it some thought. Obviously, Drive the World 1.0, I took the 911 Carrera T. It took me a long time to decide upon that car. So whilst it may seem like an obvious or boring choice, I would take another 911, but not a Carrera T. I'd take the 911 Dakar, because I would get all the benefits that I got with the Carrera T, still be able to live that Porsche life, but be able to go further. And that was my one regret with Drive the World 1, is that, well, we were sort of restricted to roads. A Dakar would mean that we could go to places like South America, Central Africa, just all the places we didn't explore the first time round, because obviously the Dakar means we can go off-road, and many of those countries, some of the best places to explore are with dirt roads. So yeah, Drive the World 2.0, it may not be as far away as we all think. I'm always kind of planning it, but obviously the arrival of my baby daughter at the end of last year has probably delayed things a little bit, but heck, if I could install some back seats into a Dakar somehow, maybe she could come with, but you can't, that's the only problem. Anyway, more thoughts on that, but to answer the question, 911 Dakar, and to all the parts of the world we didn't explore first time round. Right, next question, Tony. Everyone's been asking.
Yeah.
Which car's better, yours or mine?
Up here, mine.
What? Why up here?
Well, just actually not up here, everywhere, it's mine.
Everyone's been saying, is it better because it's black? I can tell you straight away no, because look, completely by coincidence, there's an identical car in the car park.
But that hasn't got ceramic, so he's died.
Well, of course, everyone's opinion is going to be different, but there's nothing I would change about my car. In my opinion, it is miles better than Tony's, but he thinks the complete opposite. And that's the beauty of having your own GT3. Listen to us. Oh, which colour is better on our GT3?
Where's your GT3?
Oh, so we've got a big drive ahead of us today, about 4 hours through the Austrian mountains and trying to find back roads where possible and just having a bit of a laugh in our cars. Next up, somebody asked, would I ever consider getting another STG HQ, a sort of garage or headquarters? Lots of you will remember I was for a while based at the Duke of London, which was amazing, but as the world opened up once again and allowed me to come and travel to places like this, I just felt like I had less need for a studio or a workshop. But I'm definitely considering getting in a place again. I think well, having the baby at home, I want to spend more time at home, so having a kind of base or a headquarters, even my own coffee shop, a bit like Fat Mankai, well, it appeals to me. And whenever I come and visit these kinds of places, of which there are more and more in the world, I get overexcited and think, oh, I would love to have something like this myself. So watch this space. Nothing like that happens particularly quickly, but I do think at some point in the quite near future, yeah, I'd like to create some kind of base for myself that all of you can also come and visit, not just the sort of generic. What was that? Did something just fall off my car again? It's such a nice day, and we've descended from the top of the mountain now, so I've had to take my hoodie off because it was getting pretty hot in here. But next up, somebody's asked, what's my favourite kind of music or band? I gotta be honest, I listen to so much music and podcasts when in the car that it's hard to pinpoint a favourite. For example, right now, I've been listening to a Dean Martin playlist. Kind of felt appropriate as I drove through these incredible views. I used to be obsessed with Muse back in the day. Lots of people know that I love a bit of Coldplay. I actually quite like Billie Eilish. Tony and I were commenting up at Fat Mankind that we don't mind a bit of Miley Cyrus. So the spectrum is wide, but I would say I mainly listen to 60s soul and rock and roll, Rolling Stones and things like that. And then kind of 90s or noughties indie. Probably is what I listen to the majority of the time, but really depends on the occasion. And podcasts, Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert, obsessed, Formula One Beyond the Grid, Spike's Car Radio, The Smoking Tyre, and any kind of real crime drama, I suppose. Now, we're not that far from Gemünd at the moment, which was the original home of Porsche, and right in front of me I think is a Gemünd 356, as in like one of the earliest 356s and Porsches ever made. We just stumbled across it. It looks amazing. Now, I will admit, I do sometimes struggle to tell the difference between a 356A, 356B, 356C, etc., because the changes were so minor, but this looks like a particularly early car, and it's just out here, like, living its best life. And for me, that feels really special. I'm here in Austria, near Gemünd, the home of Porsche, in my GT3, following one of the earliest Porsches ever made. All of this will be going over Tony's head, but I'm like, ah! And actually, it's a good time to bring up the question of, well, what's going on with the hunt for a classic? Just like my last update, I don't have a huge amount to tell you, but when I see cars like this, I'm like, oh my God, I need to get a move on. And the 356 remains kind of a front runner, I gotta be honest. I guess you had no idea what that old car was, right?
No idea, mate. An old Porsche.
I think it's one of the earliest Porsches ever made, like a pre-A356, like a Gemünd. So you know we're near the original home of Porsche, Gemünd. That's where it actually began. We're not that far. That was the Gemünd Strasse that we were on. And that car looks like, to me, a super early car. So quite cool that we're here in our brand new Porsches. That's one of the oldest, and we're near the original home. Right over your head, right?
Lost me.
Couldn't care less. You're just pissed off we pulled over, aren't you?
No, what now?
Yeah.
No. I'll go for a week.
Oh, thanks for sharing. Well, whilst we take a quick breather, let me answer the next question, which is there a video opportunity that I regret turning down? I don't have too many regrets, and I don't turn down too many opportunities, but early this year I did get invited to Spa to spend a day and a half in the 992 GT3 RS. I couldn't make it work, the dates clashed too much. I know a bunch of other creators ended up going and doing it, but yeah, I still haven't driven the new 3RS, and spending a day and a half driving on track with Porsche tuition and all that stuff, that would have been quite good. But every now and again there are diary clashes, but usually it resolves itself because eventually I get the chance to drive the car, visit the place, meet the person later down the line, if that makes any sense. So, I don't know, I think Tony's had his wee now, so let's jump back in and crack on. We are having more strudel, but what's the saying? When in Rome, or at least when in Austria. Now, the next question, well, it's appropriate to have Tony involved, because it is, where do you see the podcast in the next 5 years in terms of growth / location? I don't understand the location part. Maybe they mean where we're going to be doing live events. But in 5 years' time, I would say we want world domination, don't we?
Yeah,
I think, biggest...
already number one in the UK, I mean...
Biggest
Well,
general podcast, not even automotive, biggest podcast in the world, bought by Spotify for £150 million.
Then we're out. We're out.
And then we'll finish.
Bye-bye.
But yeah, no, our plan is to continue to grow the podcast, but even more so next year. A lot of my focus is going to switch to the podcast. Tony already has invested a lot, considering that he's running about 55 other businesses. So yeah, watch this space. And if you don't know what we're talking about when we say the podcast, well, where have you been? Head over, check it out, Behind the Glass. It's a whole own YouTube channel. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Did you listen to a podcast before we started doing a podcast?
No.
Do you now listen to podcasts?
Only if I go on a long run, like a really long drive.
We're trying to promote podcasts. Be more like. Do you listen to them?
I am coming round to it.
More and more, right?
Yeah. I think I might listen to one on today.
Great.
Our one.
Well, back out onto the road, a little bit heavier than before we stopped, but strudel and schnitzel, to be fair, it's my weakness. Whenever I come to this part of the world, I eat a hideous amount of both. Anyway, next question is a super interesting one. Have I ever considered quitting YouTube? Truth be told, yes, I have. Probably on a few occasions, but most seriously, back in, the end of 2019, early 2020, we spoke before about Drive the World 2.0 and obviously Drive the World 1.0. My original plan was that at the end of that trip, I would kind of retire from YouTube, or at least reduce my presence. I had a few other things lined up, a few plans. I was going to drop doing maybe like a video every quarter and just shift away from YouTube. But, well, firstly, Drive the World changed the entire way that I run my channel and think of my business. And then coronavirus happened. So financially, I had to recommit myself because there wasn't many other ways to, redefine what I did. So yeah, look, in the grand scheme of things, I'm super happy because I'm loving YouTube more than I ever did. So thank God for coronavirus. Who thought that would be something that anyone ever said? But yeah, it reinvested me into this channel and I'm very glad that it did. Well, welcome to our hotel, Steierschlossel. This room is freaking awesome, and this hotel looks beautiful. It wraps up what's been an amazing day. The final question of the day is, what other YouTube content do I watch? I don't actually watch that much automotive content. I watch a lot of travel content. So I've got to shout out Cara and Nate, Eamon and Beck, Sailing Le Vagabond. There's a handful of other channels. Drew Sims, absolutely adore. I get a lot of inspiration from those guys for this kind of stuff, the adventures, the exploration. Definitely want to do more of that next year. Adventures with cars, rather than a lot of the car reviews which I've been doing this year. They've been amazing, but I just want to lean into exploring again once more. So yeah, it's been an amazing day and a fun Q&A. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and stay subscribed for plenty more content to come.
To the rescue, here I am. Second, get it in. That's it, power. Good lad. Knee down, wide third.